Cool. All right. Super casual, guys. So like Lauren mentioned, Dr. Mike Bruno, Nav Rehab Chiropractic is my office. It's in Brielle. Been there for about 2 years. I'm a chiropractor and athletic trainer. And our whole goal is helping people find the root cause of their problem. So talking to you two specifically, back pain, is it actually a back problem? That's what we're going to figure out today. Because a lot of times when I have clients who they've tried all the other like normal stuff prior, it's like, hey, I have back pain. It's back massage, it's Advil, it's back exercises, back cracking, stuff like that. It's temporary relief, and it just keeps coming back in that cycle. Would you guys say you're in that boat, or is it kind of different? Yeah? Okay. So what we're going to do is find out, like, is your back pain coming from somewhere else? All right? So the way that I like to break these down is the first half is I'll use my lovely fiance and demo person to like show you guys, and then I'll have you guys actually go through it. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right. So first thing, Erica has also been dealing with some back pain and hip pain, yes?
Always.
Yeah? Okay. So this is going to be very applicable. So the 2 or the 3 main things we look at are squat, a toe touch, and a trunk rotation, because those are our 3 big global movements that we can assess. All right. So the first one is going to be a squat. So I'll have you face the side that way. All right, and whatever feels normal and natural, go through a squat. Okay. Now, Lauren, no cheating, because I know you know the answers, but I'm going to have you guys call stuff out if you see it that might look like not normal to you guys, and then I'll tell you what I'm seeing. All right, so go ahead and do a couple squats. All right, I see like two main things here. Anything that jumps out to you guys at first?
Like things like tucking the tailbone. I don't know. What do you mean?
Tucking the tailbone? Okay.
There's a wrong answer.
There's no wrong answer.
Okay.
There's no wrong answer. There's something, I just want to know if you guys see anything at first, and then I'll talk you through it. No? What do you feel?
Oh my God, squats look great.
Yeah, it looks perfect.
Okay, so go ahead and squat again.
Questionable.
Yeah, so you see how her toes are picking up here?
Yeah.
What that tells me is that her like center of gravity and her weight shift, we're having an issue there, right? Sometimes that's because of imbalance in hip range of motion, ankle range of motion, things like that. All right, and then we're gonna challenge you a little bit, okay? So drop down into that squat again, and then try to raise your arms up overhead. It's pretty good, okay? So if she was balancing like a barbell over her head, do you think that'd be a good position for her? No? Because it'd come crashing down, right, in front of her? Okay, and then something that we talk about a lot, I call it the Kim K position, that like booty pop kind of thing, right? So Erica's very guilty of that. What happens there?
Oh, is she?
So what happens there is when she's going to squat, she runs out of the room in her hips too early. The pelvis dumps forward, and then that, even if you guys go to like try that later on, that will immediately get your low back muscles like really tight and tense. Okay? So for you guys dealing with back pain, in a squat, it might not bother you in the gym, but like standing in the salon and stuff, right? There could be a level of that you're unconsciously doing all day, and that's like squeezing at a low level for hours and hours and hours. It builds up. Yeah. All right. So what do we do about it? Have any of you guys squatted with like heel wedges before? No? Okay, so this might be no. All right. So
Really squat here.
fair, very fair. I was saying anywhere outside of here. Outside of here. All right, so we're just going to use these to check out the difference in what we noticed between her toes and her heels, like how that makes a difference in how she squats. So nothing else changes, no magic voodoo, just changing the position. Yep, you're good there. So go ahead and squat. Okay. So.
But you see her tailbone still. Yeah.
Yep. So that's like a deeper issue, right? So what I see is she's able to keep her toes down a lot better, check mark, right? And then go ahead and squat. And she's able to get lower before that tailbone does the thing, right? And drop down low again, go arms overhead.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
A lot more safer to be like, and that's like when we were talking like wrist elbows and stuff like that, right? Even if you're not squatting, if you have that forward lean and you're trying to do something crazy overhead, like you're not going to be able to get into that position if you have a deeper issue, right? So it's going to show up in the elbow because you're running out of range of motion through the trunk and the shoulder first. The elbow's that point that's going to try to make up for it. It's not built to do that. That's going to hurt. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's squatting. So we're gonna have you guys go through that in a bit. But the next thing, I know we don't do a ton of traditional deadlifts in here, right? But we do like hinge variations all the time. In the past,
We do B stance.
B stance.
Yeah.
Okay, but
we do B stance or we do gliders.
gotcha.
Or we do both.
But we're not doing any like barbell like ripping from the ground, right? So like with those like with like so like Erica's
Mike, thank God did too.
yes. So like Erica's like hurt herself with like the big heavy deadlifts before in her low back because we know she has that like pelvis like instability, especially when like manageable when the weight's lower and the form is different. But when you lock in, you try to lift super heavy weight, we lose it somewhere and it hurts the back. Have you guys ever had to do like a big heavy deadlift before?
I've done that, and it literally, I felt like my spine like crunch into my lower back.
Ah.
And
Oh, for a back squat, was it on your shoulders?
it was on my shoulder.
Oh,
So it's like a
something
back
about
squat,
a
like deadlift like here, like picking up off the
Or
ground.
like just hinge.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I was just thinking barbell.
Okay, yeah. So barbell stuff, like as Lauren knows, not the best solution for. It's really good if you're training to do that specific thing, like have a max bench press or squat for whatever reason. Outside of that, we have a lot better options. All right. So, Erica, please do a toe touch for me, whatever feels normal and natural here.
Like just down.
Yeah. Okay. So what we look for is, I call it a rainbow spine. So nice, universal, smooth curve. What part of her back to you guys, lower, middle, or upper, looks like flat?
Lower.
Yes. Okay, you can go ahead and stand up. So the reason that that's happening is because her body knows that she's having, like, had back problems in the past. She has a difficult time stabilizing through there. When she goes to bend forward, we want that spine to relax and curl. Her back's natural position is being like squeezed and tight. Okay? So for you guys, I would imagine you're in a similar situation where you guys like have had back pain in the past and it's like, ooh, like I don't want it to hurt, so I'm gonna tense up. Might be conscious, might be unconscious, might be a mix of both. But the problem with like that is like core bracing is a good thing. Core flexibility is also a good thing. It just depends on the situation that you're in. The place that people get stuck the most is when they're always braced or they're always super flexible. So think of like your big power lifter who like is like this all the time, or like the yoga person who's never touched a weight in their life. Like those are the opposite ends of the spectrum. One's super flexible all the time, can't get rigid. The other one's super rigid all the time, can't get bendy. All right? So we're gonna do a couple things here to see if we can get Erica's back to bend, all right? So this yoga block, light squeeze between the knees, okay? And what that is gonna do is create the stability through the pelvis and allow the low back to relax. So go ahead, give it a light squeeze, more so through the knees. Like drop it a little bit, stand up, and do it again. Nice. All right, still looks pretty flat to me. Do you guys agree?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna keep that. And we're gonna add these. So we're gonna lightly raise the toes like this, all right? Soft squeeze between the knees. And don't lock your knees out.
Mine are as big as his. He likes mine better. He likes my wedges better.
All wedges are not created equal. All right, so she's able to get down a lot lower here with those couple tweaks, which tells me that she's getting more range of motion out of her hips and there's less stress on the back. So you tell us, does that feel any different through the low back when you do that?
Yes, I don't feel as stiff.
You don't feel as stiff. Okay. So you can stand up. So the point of us like assessing this and going back and forth is, right, like one of you guys might have a real issue with like the squatting pattern for whatever reason, right? And you have back pain. The other might have a hinging issue and see it more here with back pain. Both of you are experiencing back pain, but the root cause or like why it's happening is completely different. So if we went to treat you exactly the same way, one might get better really fast and one might not get better and get super frustrated. So it's important to know why the back pain's happening so that we can do the right thing to fix it. All right? Cool.
Awesome. He like fixed my hip. I was running. I was running and it was my pelvic alignment from my C-sections and
Mm-hmm.
one tight hamstring and then the other, and it was like we went through these exercises and literally it was like, okay, I'm like pain free now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Have you guys ever done this one in here? Like on the wall?
that's him.
Yeah. You're welcome. You're welcome.
That's mine. That's all mine.
All right. So last thing we're going to do is just like a standing trunk rotation here. So go ahead and spin, face the wall that way. Okay. Feet together. Give yourself a big hug. All right. And now you're going to rotate all the way right and all the way left. All right. And you guys tell me, do you think that's even or do you think there's more to one side?
More to one side.
All right. What do we think? What side?
Left side.
She can turn more to her left.
But she's opening her hips with it.
Mm-hmm.
Is she supposed to be opening her hips with it or keeping them squared?
So I don't set any rules when I'm like assessing,
Okay.
okay? But it's a good thing to notice because especially if for people like we were talking about elbows, golfers, things like that, and especially in here because there's so many like unilateral exercises, so like you do rights and lefts. If your trunk rotation is very different, you might experience like, hey, my right side feels like no problem, but my left side feels super heavy, but it's the same weight. Right? It's like, hey, I feel so much weaker on one side. It's not that your muscles are weaker, it's that you can't get into the same position to produce the amount of strength necessary to do that thing.
Because of limited range of motion.
That was me today.
That was you
My
today?
left hip is tighter.
So you were like no sweat on one side and then the other
Yeah,
side was like, whoa.
What are you?
Windmills.
My left hurt a lot more than my right today. Like I felt
Okay.
tighter. I couldn't. My range of motion
Okay.
was limited.
Well, there you
on the
go.
left side.
Proof of
Well,
concept.
and her right side was tighter when her left, when she rotated left, she
It
had
was more-
more range of motion
Mm-hmm.
because of her right side. That's what I was seeing.
Yes.
So when she was facing the wall and she was coming this way, she looked fine.
Mm-hmm.
But when she was coming this way, it was like she was like stuck.
Like getting bound up.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of the times, were you gonna say
So
something?
that's how I felt.
Yeah. So a lot of the times with golfers, especially, I see it the most often, is they're like, oh, I have trouble like getting into my backswing. That is super obvious where they're like super stiff coming back this way. And then lo and behold, they have golfer's elbow, right? Because they're trying to come back this way. They can't crank it through the trunk and the hips. And the elbow stress is where it kind of like blows out, so to speak. All right. For you guys, do you get like any like upper body issues, like elbows, neck, shoulders, or is it all low back?
Yeah.
Shoulders and neck.
I'm always like hunched up. I'm really
It's
trying
like-
to work on that.
It's like
I think
this,
it's 'cause
right?
they're constantly like this.
Just like and like
Yeah.
the blow
And
dryer.
they're just constantly
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Like at the sink. I feel
Like
like.
Right.
this for me.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like a long time just hanging out right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And no matter how strong you are, like spending 8 hours here is
Yeah, like you're overcompensating somewhere.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. So what we do when we're looking at the hips here, go ahead and spin facing here. So Lauren was right on the money when she was saying like, hey, there's like trunk rotation, but she's like also opening her hips up, right? So what I'm gonna have you do is cross your feet, all right? So when she does that, go ahead and turn right to left. So this is essentially like locking the hips down. So we're seeing how much we're getting out of her spine compared to her hips, right? So do you guys see the difference in range of motion comparatively? And I also like to compare on both sides, so go ahead and cross the feet the other way. Because like it's gonna favor obviously one side versus the other, so you wanna see how that compares.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can also see that right hip wanting to.
It wants to real
wants
bad. Yeah, for sure. So the biggest thing when I'm looking at these, and then there's a whole like from like a clinical perspective, like we're not going to get into that today, but like diving in and like individually assessing like joints and range of motion to get a lot more specified with this. But from a global perspective, my goal is to be able to show you guys like, oh, like I have back pain, but like, oh, like I can see the difference in how my hips are moving, and like that could be a factor so that you guys can figure out like what's actually causing your back pain. All right? Okay, so I have a pair of wedges and I stole one of Lauren's yoga blocks. So we
You
need
want
to
another
get,
set of wedges? Mine aren't as tall as yours though.
that should work. All right, so we're gonna have you guys go through those 3 things. Is that cool?
Okay, yeah.
All right. You can have mine. You're welcome.
But I had them way
Giant
before him
ones.
because I'm way older than him. And you want to know how old they are? Look at this. Do you see those right there?
Those teeth marks? What are
Those
those?
are my kids. Those are both of my kids' teeth marks.
They were
One's
biting them. Interesting.
Two little teeth.
That's cute.
Isn't that funny?
Are you gonna keep them forever?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's a good
And
idea.
you'll need that eventually. You're welcome.
then I have a green one that has
And now I'm gonna
We should mind.
cut this.
no, side to side.